Bodhita Bhagavata Narayana Swayam Vyasena Gratita Purana Munina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavati Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanu Santatani Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshinim.
Basically, see, this is sort of a dialogue between people are raising questions and answers. That is how Bhashya comes in Gita. Since at this stage people are raising questions about if Bhagavan says I am creating and I am not creating, the doubts are raised and answered. And that is what is summed up here. That is why there is a lengthy discussion before we go to the next verse. So that is what is going on. A dialogue is summarized by the Swamiji. He has not mentioned the question and answer, but he himself has mentioned the question and given the answer also. But in Bhashya, it will come as Purva Bhuksha Siddhanta. Like there is somebody who is contradicting what is being told and Shankara answers. Like that it will come. So that is what is going on now. So let us continue. Yeah.
In the last two verses.
What is the question, Swamiji? The question, right?
If you go to the Bhashya, there will be a Purva Bhuksha Siddhanta. Like doubt and answers and all that. There will be a lot. This is all have been summarized in these pages by Swamiji. So that's what we are looking at now. Yeah.
The last two verses, we saw that Prakriti creates the world consisting of things that move and things that do not move. It also sustains and destroys it. Destruction is in the sense of dissolving creation back to itself. Bhagavan says, Prakriti can do this only because it is blessed by me. With Paramatma as its basis, Prakriti creates everything. Without this basis, it cannot be conscious and therefore cannot create. Prakriti, also called as Maya, draws its existence from Paramatma, is conscious because of Paramatma and therefore can create by itself. If the word I, Aham, is used keeping the Maya Upadhi in view, the Lord can say Aham Visrijami, I create. But in reality, the Aham is purely Paramatma, and to say I create is only a referential statement. Then again, Bhagavan says, Nacha mam thani karmani nibadnanti.
Nibadnanti means bound. Yeah.
These actions do not affect me at all because I am like one who is absolutely indifferent. Udasinavat. This is from my own standpoint, from where there is no action at all. We have two types of statements here, which understood together is jnana.
See, like as I was telling, we are looking at the whole creation or the Srishti from our own standpoint. As I was telling, like when we get up, we are just a awareful being. But once you say I am, then you look around. What I am means what? I've got a body, then it is incidentally it is a human body, so I call myself human being. Then I get connected to the name and all the activities that were left in the previous night. This is how our everyday creation starts. The same thing is simulated in terms of Bhagavan's Srishti. From here only we are trying to simulate. Because we have nobody has seen Bhagavan sitting and creating. Your rishis, they are extrapolating Adhyatma experience in how the Srishti is logically possible. That is what is being told. And because of their intense tapas and all that, whatever they are saying and they are given as verses is called revealed verses, and it is all more or less corroborated by our experiences across all the humanity. So that is why we are able to explain Srishti. That is why Veda is revealed. Basically, it's all rishis tapas and how they extrapolate their own experience into the creation. That is what is being discussed here. So when we say I am, so from there we came to the I am the human being and all that. In the same way, I Paramatma is there. The word I Aham is used as the Maya Upadhi in view. Then the Lord can say Aham Visrjami, I create. Otherwise, Paramatma has no connection with any creation. Also, as we have been discussing this, it is awareful being. In that awareful being, there is no element of object and all that. But because we see in our own reality, I, the awareful being, immediately gets, as soon as we get up, we get connected to I am, a human being, a body and all that. In the same way, the Srishti also has happened. But the reality is for both is one and the same awareful being. There is no real Srishti. Even though in my presence, like I associate myself with my body, my mind and all that, which on scrutiny, we find that it is all, it's not my body or my mind, it is all in the prapancha. It is all Panchabhuta, outside Panchabhuta, inside. There is nothing like my body and all that. Just because there is a skin which is an isolating factor, like as I was telling, pot space and tumbler space and all that, space is one and the same. There is no real bifurcation. But because of the, what you call, the upadhi, the tumbler or the pot and all that, we say pot space. In the same way, I, the human being, that is the cow, again there is a horse. So we say the cow is different from the horse. And in space, we imagine a space that where cow is there, horse is not there. Where horse is there, cow is not there. But basically, if you remove that space and time parameters, all that is there in the cow, Panchabhuta, is the same is there in the horse also. It's all because we name it horse and cow and all that. They don't themselves call cow or horse. We don't know what themselves they call. But we call for differentiation and all the things, the whole. So our Srishti, the same way, Bhagavan Srishti also, all Devatas, the Upanishad also it explains, okay, you go and sit in Ab Devata, you go and sit Vayu Prana Devata, you go and sit in the, what you call, Prithvi Devata in your legs and all that. Like that, Bhagavan seems to say, go and sit. Then they ask, okay, we will sit, but how we will get our bhojanam? My, what do you call, my thirst and this thing. Okay, we will provide. That is why they will do yaga. Whom you are sitting, they will do yajna, they will do ahuti, they will give, and that you eat. And he tells all the devatas, that way you bless them, you bless the human being will bless you by giving you food. It is mutual beneficial arrangement. All that is all being imagined, like in the sense, it is because it is Rishi Vakya and it is all very logically, and we find that it is all happening properly. The whole Upanishad, the whole everything, whatever is being explained, the Vedas, whatever yajnas we do, because of the yajna, good karma, you are able to feel peaceful inside. All those things are logically, Shruti Anukula Tarka helps us to understand what has been told in the Shastra is validated by our experience. So everything is finally the human being, human intelligence only is the offshoot of the Samashti intelligence. That is how the whole what you call the presentation is. That's what he is trying to tell here, that like you say I am, here Bhagavan Paramatma says Aham. Then in keeping with the Maya Upadhi in you, Aham Visrjami, I create and all that. He is explaining that. So we have to look at it that way. Yeah.
Similarly, when you say Aham Karomi, I do, all this is inward. The action that obtains in the Upadhi, such as the body-mind sense complex, is superimposed upon the self, and then you say, I do. If this is understood, the fact that you do not do anything, even when you seem to do all types of actions, should also be very clear. It is for this reason Bhagavan says that these karmas do not bind him.
Yeah, correct. See, like if you understand this, then like Bhagavan says, even though everything is happening in my presence, I don't do anything. The same way you can also say, that is precisely how you have to understand. Your own being is unconnected. Whatever happens is happened in the phenomenal world. When there is hunger, there is food. When there is thirst, there is water. Everything is there in the phenomenal. You don't say that I drink water, I eat food. Don't associate yourself with everything that is happening in the phenomenal world. That way you will be able to understand your reality as I am just a awareness being. And that is precisely, it is not only understanding it, that is precisely what you want in life. What you want in life is lack of want. You don't want, you are going after fulfilling wants. Why? Because you think that you want, you lack something. So you keep on fulfilling one after the other, one, endless it is. Throughout our life, we are keep on fulfilling our desires because we keep saying, I want. He says that I want itself is a avidya. It is what is not true. You unnecessarily associate yourself with the phenomenal world and say, I want food, I want water. No, it's all happening. It's all Panchabhuta. In you is Panchabhuta, in every other being in the whole Samashti. So automatically, wherever thirst is there, water is available. Wherever food is there, wherever the hunger is there, food is available. That is why there is a famous saying, the world has everything to offer what you need, but not what you greed. There is a saying, famous saying, that world has everything to fulfill your needs, but not to fulfill your greeds. The greed comes because of your association. You think that I do things, so I want to do something better than the other fellow. You isolate yourself. So then it creates fear in you. Then it creates complex. Then you do all wrong things. Whereas if you don't associate yourself with my body, my family and all that, like what Arjuna is doing, because of that the whole discussion is going on. If we also don't do that, aham, my body and my I, me, myself, then everything will be in its own place. We will be able to do things, we will be able to appreciate things in their own reality and do whatever is appropriate. That is what he is trying to do. He is trying to remove our avidya. Like even Bhagavan says, even though everything is happening in my presence, I am not really involved in any of those things. In the same way, we should all be able to say. From the last two verses, he is extrapolating to ourselves. Yeah.
Swamiji, I have a question. This is a kind of condition in which I create, I do, I am thinking and all that. When somebody is finding fault with me unduly, for no reason of mine, so how do we face that situation?
That is there. That will be there, very much there. Even though you may understand properly in its right perspective, the other person may not understand it. That is precisely, that is where what you have to do, you have to have that empathy. In the sense, okay, he does it out of misunderstanding, not understanding properly. Because of that he is doing. So, you can ensure that you are not getting affected, or you keep away or try to advise him, try to correct him, saying that, see, this is the reality, you cannot assume that everything belongs to you, it's all meant for everyone, there is supposed to be, we are all supposed to be, what is good for you is good for me, all of us have to share the resources, we cannot be greedy, all those things we have to tell. Listen, logically, if they don't understand, you ensure that it doesn't affect you, move away from such company, all those things we have to do. But nevertheless, we have to understand that that being in him is the same as the being in us. So we cannot will anything harmful for him, even though he is behaving like that. We cannot, because he is part of the one same truth. That is how we have to look. Okay, because of his prarabdha, because the samskara is behaving like that, tolerate him, avoid him, or try to put some sense in him. Whatever is possible you can do to obviate the situation. But definitely we cannot do something wrong which will hurt us. Because of his misbehavior, we should not hurt ourselves by acting wrongly. That is what we have to be careful about. That's all we can do.
Generally, in such situations, people develop a dvesham.
Yes, dvesham, that's what I am trying to say. Dvesham we should not. Because dvesham means it will hurt you. Dvesham means because it is unnatural. Love is your natural, because oneness is the reality. So the expression of oneness is love. the being in him, even though he is a wrongdoer, the being in him and the being in me are one and the same. There is no second being. There is only the upadhi, like a pot, and that pot is different from this pot. So it doesn't really make sense to develop any dvesha, because dvesha means it is an isolation confirmed. Whereas isolation itself is wrong, in our understanding. Then why do we confirm that isolation? By having a hatred towards it. Keep away, move away, ensure that you don't get hurt. That much pragmatic you can be. Try to put some sense, or try to tell people who can really influence him. All those things we can try, whatever best possible to. Let me have the serenity to accept things which I cannot change. Let me have the will and effort to change things I can. Let me have the wisdom to know the difference between the two. In these two things it doesn't work, let us have the wisdom. Just move away. So all those things have to be done. But we have to be careful that we don't develop dvesha, raga and all that. Because raga, dvesha and all confirms isolation, which is not reality. So that is what we have to be careful about. So that this understanding should help us to be very firm in not developing those ragas, dveshas and all that. So that's what we have read it before also. The hetu for raga, dvesha is lack of understanding. And to get rid of raga, dvesha, the hetu again is atma understanding. Atma understanding is hetu and raga, dvesha going away is hetumat. This is the reason, that is the effect. That's what Bhagavan has told. So we have to be careful. We have to hold on to what is prior, what is the precursor, what is first, the cause. That is, our understanding is the cause. If we don't understand, the effect is raga, dvesha. If we understand, we will not develop raga, dvesha. Let us take things as they are, reality, that's all. Very important. Yeah.
Shankara poses an interesting question here. When the Lord has no connection to the objects of enjoyment, and when there is no other conscious being to be an enjoyer, for what reason does He create the world? If the creation is for another enjoyer, we must establish that there is another. Is there another? The mantra that Shankara quoted previously said that there is only one Lord, Eko Devaha.
Yeah, we have just seen that before. Eko Devaha Sarva Bhuteshu Gudaha Sarva Vyapi Sarva Bhuta Antaratma Karmadyakshaha Sarva Bhutadi Vasaha Sakshi Cheta Kevalo Nirgunasya. That's what he is referring to. Yeah.
One conscious being concealed in all the beings, Sarva Bhuteshu Guda. Guda.
That means as though it is there. Sarva Bhuta means as though. But there is only one Atma that subsists across all Bhutas. Yeah.
As we have seen earlier, it means that there is only one self, which by nature is conscious and happens to be this entire creation. There is no multiplicity here at all. Sarvam Brahmaiva Neha Nana Asti Kinchana. Even the Jagat is not a second thing because it is Mithya, is what the Shruti says.
Yeah.
Now suppose you say there are many Atmas, then we must ask, is the second Atma known to you or not? If you say there is a second Atma, you have to say it is known to you. How would another be known? By Atma? If it is known, then we will ask whether it is known by Atma or Anatma. Suppose you say it is known by Atma. To know that there is a second Atma, you will be able to see the difference between your own Atma and the second Atma. To do that, you must first see what is the peculiarity in your Atma that makes it distinguishable from the second one. If you look into your Atma, what do you see? White or black? If you see black, Atma does the blackness because Atma or Anatma. If it belongs to Anatma, then how can you say it is you? If it belongs to Atma, how are you going to see it? A property of Atma which you have to see should be an object. And Atma being yourself, you can never see it as an object. In order to see anything, you must have Kartra Karma Beda.
The subject-object differentiation, yeah.
The seer must be different from the seen. So, to look into any particular feature of Atma, you have to decide Atma into two.
Divide it. Yeah.
Atma into two. The seer Atma and the seen Atma. How can you say that Atma is both seer and seen? It is not possible at all. So you cannot see the features in your own Atma that will distinguish it from another Atma. Because the difference between one Atma and another cannot be known by Atma.
By Anatma, then you have to say it is known by Anatma. But Anatma is Jada, inert. It is something that you see. Being inert, Anatma cannot see anything at all. Therefore, this difference is not seen by either Atma or Anatma. If it is not seen, you cannot prove there is another Atma. Shankara probes this further, assuming for the sake of argument that this difference exists. Is it different or non-different from Atma? If you say it is not identical with Atma, it becomes a dharma, property of Atma, which is Anatma. If you say it is identical with Atma, then we have the same problem of establishing how we are seeing it. There is no pramana for it because Atma cannot see its own features. It does not have that kind of subject-object division. To summarize, if there are many Atmas, you must be able to distinguish one from the other. And to do that, you must be able to establish differences among them. In order to establish the differences, first you must see your Atma having this feature and another Atma having other features. Unless you have established the differences between Atmas, you cannot establish the multiplicity of Atma. If your Atma is Sat Chit Ananda, then what about the other Atma? If you say Atmas are many and all of them are Sat Chit Ananda, how can there be another Ananda other than this Ananda which is limitless? If one Sat Chit Ananda Atma is limitless, where is the possibility of another limitless Atma? There is no second limitlessness, which is why you can say along with Ishvara, Maya Adhikshena Prakriti Suyate. That is knowledge. The whole teaching is that you should be able to say along with Lord Krishna, by me everything is presided over. Because when he says me, that me is Satchit Ananda Atma and there is only one Satchit Ananda Atma. Perhaps a second Atma can be inferred.
So these are all, as I was telling, questions. Somebody raises a doubt and Shankara says that and answers that. Yeah.
Even though you do not see Atma, you may argue that you can infer it because person responds when you talk to him. You are not inferring Atma, only infer that the mind is present. You never confront another Atma. You confront the body, which is Anatma, or even the thought perhaps by presumption. But the other person is confronting the same thought. Therefore, neither you nor he confronts Atma. Since can never be confronted, you cannot know another Atma to count as a second. Unless there is an enjoyer, there is no necessity for a creation. When you create something, either you should enjoy it or someone else should enjoy it. We have just seen that there is only one Chaitana Atma. Therefore, no other Atma is available to be an enjoyer. Then who enjoys this world? Is the creation meant for Ishvara himself? If Srishti for its own sake, Paramatma should enjoy the Srishti, and to do that it must become an enjoyer. Now to enjoy something, there must be a change on the part of the enjoyer. Previously he was not enjoying, now he is. Because enjoyment is a state of experience, it is something that did not exist before, exists now and will not exist later. You enjoy for the time being. Enjoyment being a particular mental disposition, vritti visesha, there must be a vikriya change into and out of that state. So Paramatma should undergo a change in order to be an enjoyer of the Srishti which it has created. Shankara says that Ishvara does not undergo any change whatsoever. He is avikriya. So Paramatma cannot become an enjoyer. It is one reason why the creation cannot be for itself. Further, Paramatma does not have any sense of inadequacy that would prompt it to have a thought to create. Atma is Paripurna, fullness, limitless. When there can be no desire to become complete, why would he create the world? So, Paramatma can neither create nor enjoy the creation. Thus, no one can say anything about the creation of the world. The question why creation is untenable. When Shankara asks why this creation, what answer can you give? Shankara says, the question and answer are both untenable. If you say that there is only one Atma Chaitanya, there is no other Bhokta, in which case why do you ask this question? You seem to understand non-duality. So there is no question. If you understand that only one Chaitanya Atma exists, there is no real Srishti for any purpose, and the question, why is there a creation, is untenable. When even to ask the question is not proper, to answer it is certainly not proper. Shruti herself expects this. Elsewhere, she says, Ko adha veta ka iya pravoktat
Ko adha veda ka iha pravochat kuta ajata kuta iyam vishnishti. All these questions. Yeah. He has explained in the footnote. You can read that. Yeah.
Ko adha veda ka iha pravochat kuta ajata kuta iyam
Ajata. Yeah.
Ajata Ajata kuta iyam visrishtihi. Kaha, who adha directly Veda knows this Paramatma. Kaha, who here with reference to this Paramatma, Pravochati can talk. Kuta, from where? Ajata has this creation. Kutaha, where is iyam visrishtihi, this creation.
So all these questions about creation is untenable, he says. Nobody, in the sense, there is no, other than Atma, there is no second. So all this question of creation, one Atma and another Atma, all are, once you understand, all these are only imaginary, imaginative. That is why he says these questions are not relevant. To answer them also is not proper. That's what he says. Yeah.
Who knows this Jagat? Who exactly knows everything? Who is the one who sees the world? There is no Jagat here to see. Other than Atma, you cannot see the Jagat, and in Atma, you do not see the Jagat at all. Who would be able to talk about the subject matter? Meaning, who would be able to answer a question like this? Nobody, because there is no Jagat. Look at this wonder. From where has this Srishti come? This repetition as kutaha, etc. is for the sake of showing sambrama, perturbation, like when you say, where is he?
This is exclamation. You are perturbed. So that is why you are asking the question 2 times. Where is he, like that. So normally when we get perturbed, no, we asking. Likewise, he says. Our creation itself is perturbation. Yeah.
Some argue that it is Bhagavan's Leela. Then his play is my back pain, my heart attack, my stomach ulcer. What kind of play is that? If he plays and makes me play too, then we can say Bhagavan is just interested in play. So he created some others to play with. But it must be play for others, or it is sadism. We see that the world is not play. So we cannot say it is Leela. Even if it were a play, it is for someone who wishes to enjoy. If Atma is Avikriya, then how can there be Leela for Atma? In pure Chaitanya, there is no Leela. There is no Prayojana, purpose in it, because Ishvara has no sense of limitation or inadequacy which would motivate him to create something. So there is no purpose even for Ishvara, much less for Paramatma. Ishvara is Atma obtaining in the Maya Upadhi, making Atma Sarvajna omniscient. Making Atma Sarvajna omniscient. The omniscient Atma cannot be a desirer because he has no sense of limitation or inadequacy. When creation is impossible, How to account for it? Therefore, creation is not possible. So how do we account for all this? What we call creation is nothing but Maya. Anything that is untenable is made tenable by Maya. If you ask how Maya can make it tenable, that is what Maya is. It makes the untenable tenable. This has already been shown by Bhagavan in the 5th chapter. Ajnanena avritam jnanam tena muhyanti jantavaha. Knowledge is covered by ignorance, and because of that, living beings are deluded. The idea is that the whole question arises only from the standpoint of Srishti, creation. Only when you accept a Srishti do you say Ishvara with the Maya Upadhi is the cause of creation. Then you can say Atma qualified by Maya Upadhi is Ishvara, and Paramatma without the Upadhi is the cause that does not undergo any change and is called Vivakta Upadana Karana. That is what is said here. Maya Adhyakshena Prakritihi Suyate Sacharacharam. Atma, without giving up its nature, becomes the cause for everything. All this is only from the standpoint of creation, not from the standpoint of Atma. From the standpoint of Atma, there is no Jagat. In Satchit Ananda Atma, there is no Jagat. So there is no necessity as to seek an answer as to how this world came about. Since it is not there in Satchit Ananda, there is no reason to talk about it. It looks as though the Jagat is one thing and the Satchit Ananda is another. It is not true, because when you see the Jagat, Satchit Ananda is present. There is no Jagat separate from Satchidananda, but in Satchidananda there is no Jagat. The question of how this Jagat came about does not arise. When I look at the Jagat, I find that it is not independent of Satchitananda. When this is so, the statements Matstani Sarva Bhutani, all beings are in me, and Nacha Mastani Sarva Bhutani, the beings are not in me, are not contradictory but very clear. It means that there is nothing else except me, Satchit Ananda. So the Jagat cannot come from anywhere else. It comes only from Satchit Ananda Atma. There must be some cause, and that cause is Ishvara. Therefore the Lord says, Maya Adhyakshena Prakritihi Suyate Sacharacharam. Blessed by me, the Atma alone, Prakriti creates everything. Not only does it create everything, being blessed by me, it also sustains everything and resolves everything into me. By my grace, the world exists. So the creation is neither for Paramatma nor for any other, because there is no other. No other. Therefore, it is very clear, Srishti is not for the sake of anyone. You say there is no other Atma except Paramatma, which does not require a Srishti at all. You yourself have dismissed the possibility of a Srishti being there. So why do you ask, why is there a creation? Once you know this much, you yourself have answered the question. Yet there is something to see here. When Shruti says, Ko Adha Veda Ka Iha Pravochat Kuta Ajata Kuta Iyam Srishtihi. It is to show that there is no real Srishti. A question and answer are possible only when there is something real, but it is not real. Prakriti itself does not create because it has no existence of its own. Atma does not create either. Therefore, it is purely by Maya. Then everything is possible. The reality is Atma does not create, and Prakriti alone cannot create. It has to be presided over, supported by Paramatma. Therefore, Prakriti's existence is the existence of Paramatma. The Prakriti's capacity to create, etc., and the knowledge that is necessary are all due to Paramatma alone. Prakriti, blessed by Paramatma, becomes the cause of and accounts for the existence of the creation. Thus, Bhagavan says, Aham Visrijami, I create, only from the standpoint of Prakriti. He himself is not the creator, and therefore says, Nacha Mam Tani Karmani Nibadnandi. Those actions do not affect me at all. You can say the same thing. The body, mind and sense organs all perform their activities, being presided over, being blessed by Atma. But those activities do not bind me at all, because between Prakriti and Atma there is no real connection. The connection is between two entities enjoying the same degree of reality. Here one is Satya and the other is Mithya. And Satya is not affected by Mithya. Therefore Prakriti is Aropa, a superimposition upon Atma. Because you see everything, there is Prakriti, which is Aropita upon Atma. It is definitely superimposed because once you say Atma is Param Brahma, there is no question of Prakriti. You need to understand these two standpoints because this understanding is moksha. It is an understanding of your freedom from enjoyership and doership. Everything is connected to Atma, which is the basis of everything. At the same time, Atma remains unconnected. It is always untouched, free from doership and enjoyership. It does not perform action, much less does it enjoy the result of an action. You are already free and all your karmas are completely nullified. This is the whole vision. Therefore, Shankara says here, the me referred to in the verse is the Atma of all beings, which is Nitya Shuddha Buddha Mukta Swabhava, by nature always pure, enlightened and free. It is not that the Lord means to say, I am Satchitananda Atma for a particular being and not for another. In fact, he says, I am the Atma of all beings. Lord Krishna, the one who is saying this, is Ishvara, who is Paramatma, a Jagat Karana, which is not separate from anyone. And it is Nitya Shuddha, always free from karmas, free from papa and punya, free from sorrow, etc. And it is Nitya Buddha, without any ignorance, and therefore Mukta Swabhava, always free. So you need not purify or enlighten Atma because it is not impure, nor does it have any ignorance. You need not free the Atma because it is not in any way bound. It is omniscient and the cause of the entire creation, even though it is the Atma of all beings.
So the deluded failed to recognize me. So the whole discussion is that the creation is a different order of reality compared to your own reality and Ishvara's reality. The Ishvara Paramatma, Jivatma, that is you, the reality is, we have been discussing right from beginning, it is not bound by time, it is not bound by space, it is not a thing, it is not a vastu, it is a vastavam, reality. So in such a situation, whereas anything you call creation has got all these limitations. It is born in time, it is going in time, it is bound by space. A cow is different from a horse is different from a human being. So all are boundary, has got boundaries. So time-wise bound, space-wise bound. They were not there before, they are not going to be there later. So all these are parameters, characteristics of anything you call as creation. And that level of reality does not belong to you, either you or Ishvara Swarupa, that is Paramatma. So when there is a comparison, you cannot compare apples with oranges. The same way, your reality being different compared to the reality of the Jagat or the creation, you cannot say that the I or Atma or Paramatma is associated with the creation. Creation is a different order of reality. So, which I've been always telling, like the changing is different from the changeless. You are the changeless, changing is the creation. So, only question now is there a creation? So, what as the same answer applies. What was not there before and what is not going to there later, it is only appears to exist. It is not real. The mithya means it is not a creation, is not reality. It's as though it is. So when there is an as though creation, you can only give an as though justification at that level. Okay, but difference between horse and cow we can tell. But difference between Atma and cow, Atma and the horse we cannot tell. Because it's a different order of reality. So everything that is there within the creation is comparable. You can transact, you can do business, you can do vyavahara and all that, that's all fine. But at that level of reality. So the question is whether creation, why somebody created, because the question answer immediately will be, I did not create. If you ask the clay, why did you create a part? He will say, I don't know. I only exist as clay, you call it pot. So it's not going to accept. The same way, there is no creation. If you go, there is no one to ask. That's why he says, whom you will ask? You cannot ask Atma, you cannot ask Paramatma. So the question will beg no answer. So because you are saying that there is a creation, you feel that there is a problem, you feel unfulfilled, you feel dissatisfied, as Shastra is helping you what it is all about. It explains to you and how to get out of that dissatisfaction, lack of fulfillment, all those things it tells you. You understand the reality, and for understanding the reality you must inquire, you must find out, ask the fundamental questions. For you to ask the fundamental questions, you must have the mindset to withdraw yourself from the so-called creation. Whatever happens, let it happen. During the day, whatever you need to do, you do, but find yourself enough time and enough mental balance to sit and inquire and consolidate this inquiry, understanding the reality of your own being and the reality of the whole world. Once the reality is understood, all these questions become irrelevant in your life. Like Bhagavan says, you can also say, I am neither connected, but without my presence, all this cannot exist, because I am the one who gives reality to all these things. If tomorrow, if I don't, when I go to sleep, the whole world is not there, doesn't exist for me. So only when I am awake, when I say this, creation comes into. So I give life to the creation. So I need not be worried about why creation and all that, because it is purely I give life to the creation. The creation does not give life to me. So my life is Purnam Brahma Aham Asmi, that Atma. Satchitananda Atma, Desakala Vastu Aparichinnam, not bound by time, not bound by space. I am also not a thing, I am the being. That every one of us, if we really, in the sense, if we get into that mental space wherein we are able to sit, just see as a awareness being, immediately that Shanam will be able to own it up and stay with it. That is what we do in meditation, Nididhyasanam and all that. Just stay with the reality of our being. Let that grow on us. And when we wake up also, we live a meditative life. Meditative life meaning, whatever happens around, we do whatever is appropriate to the given situation. There is a dharma matrix. In the sense, in the relative world, in the relative mithya world also, there is some niyati, there is some order. So follow that order and do what is appropriate. There is no compulsion for you to go against that dharma or go against that order, because you are not that reality. So that understanding, when it is clear, then you will not have any axe to grind with reference to what is happening around you. You will do whatever is appropriate, and at the end of the day go back to sleep peacefully. That is what is important. That understanding alone, the Shastra is not asking you to change the world. It asks you to understand the reality of the world and reality of yourself. That is what human being is capable of, and that is what that is what we call freedom or emancipation and all that. That is what the whole thing summarizes. So that is why all these questions and answers. Yeah.
But in a nutshell, Swamiji, there's no creation at all.
Yeah, creation is what? Creation is Maya, that's what it is.
Yeah.
As though it is. Iva.
No
Iva
creation.
is the word, yes. No, the sense, Jagat is Jagat, but its reality is Mithya. Jagat means what? Gachati. Actually, the root of that word Jagat is Gachat. Gacha meaning what goes. What goes means all the time it is moving. So you cannot say, when you say the word creation, by the time you start the word and complete the word has changed. So there is no, whatever changing will change, you cannot stop it. Then what is the point in brooding over it? Just go with the flow. Do whatever is appropriate, because your own body, mind, senses, limbs, all that are part of that same reality. Except you, the being, your own body, mind, senses, all your name, fame, Aadhaar card, all relationship, everything is part of the same reality, changing reality. The face which you have in the Aadhaar card 10 years back, it is not valid now. They want you to change it. Otherwise, you will have doubts about your existence. So, that is how it is. That is the reality of it. So, the reality, the whole thing is reality understanding. The whole Vedanta is whole subject matter of Gita, Upanishads and all is reality, and it shows you the reality very clearly. What is your reality? What is the reality of Jagat? Jagat Mithya, Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya. You are the only Satyam, and everything else is Mithya. So in that situation, whatever is applicable, what are the rules of the game with reference to Mithya, you play it. So that your satisfaction, your sense of fulfillment, your sense of completion, your ananda, all rest with Satchit Ananda, which is your Swarupa. It doesn't come from the world. But since we don't know it, we think that is coming, every moment of ananda comes from the ice cream or comes from the owning a car and all that, and it is fleeting and it goes. Again you are looking for something else. Again you are looking for ananda, because that is your Swarupa. Your Swarupa you have missed, so you are looking for it elsewhere. So what you have missed inside, how are you going to get it outside? So that is so, you cannot, there is no choice also. You can't say, no, okay, it doesn't matter, I will live with the world, it's too much for me to inquire into all these things. You can't say that because you want Ananda. So it's a Hobson's choice. Better to know it, earlier the better. Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Shall I read, Swamiji?
Yeah.
Swami, this Prakriti is Aropa,
Aropa is superimposition.
And Aropita upon Atma.
Yes.
Have you read about Aropita before?
Aropita is superimposition. I have told before also what I have told, I have during the course of discussion I have mentioned that Adhyaropa Apavadabhyam Nisprapancham Prapanchate. I have told the whole what you call it's a prakriya, it's a model, it's a explanation of the whole creation. In the sense Adhyaropa because what Shastra does is to justify the world which you are transacting with, it gives justification how it has happened. All that, the being, these are all the way you are aropanam, you have superimposed. Now, by understanding, if you remove it, the prapancham which you are dealing with will become nisprapancham. It is nothing but whatever I have been telling you. Nirvisesham is your reality, visesham is prapancham. But prapancha means panchabhuta, inside panchabhuta, outside all elements, devatas. The whole thing is a construct, upadhi, which I have told. In the sense, like even a justification of how this all can be explained. All this can be explained within the Maya itself. Within Mithya itself, we can explain Panchabhuta inside, Panchabhuta outside, and Vayu, Prana, and all that. Akashat, Vayu, Agni, Agniyor, Apaha. All the things is all model. It's all model to explain the Prapancham. But they are all basically superimposed on Atma. So, Adhyaropa can be two things. One is by lack of understanding, by avidya, adhyasa aropitam. That is what Brahma Sutra says. Adhyasa means avidya. Because of your lack of understanding of your own reality, you think these are all real and you are asking for an explanation. Adhyasa aropitam. The other thing is, in order to explain to you how you are dealing with the world, the transacting world, from there, Bhagavan or Shastra has to take you to the reality. In that case, he has to justify all these things through a model. That is called Adi Aropitam. There it is not Adhyasa Aropitam, Avidya Aropitam. Avidya Aropitam is your property, your prerogative. You are capable of Avidya. Bhagavan is not capable of Avidya. So what he says, Adi Aropitam. In the being, all this Akasha, Yasmat, Etasmat, Atmanaha, Akasha, Sambhudaha, Akashat, Vayu and all, Shruti explains how the whole thing can be set up, the whole setup, how can it be explained, the Aropitam. But at the end of it, you have to understand, Anando Brahmano Vidvan Avivedi Kudaschaneti. Even Taittiriya, what it will say is, what you call, Annamaya Kosha, Pranamaya Kosha, Jnanamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, all that it will explain. Finally, it will say Ananda Atma Brahma Vicham Pradishta. Finally, what is reality is only Ananda. Everything else is only Koshavat Kosha. Meaning, they are all covers as though just to explain your transaction. So that is Shastra's way of explaining Adi Aropita apavada. Apavada means negation. We do the aropitam and then do the negation. Like what I was telling you, that you introduce a construct or an adjunct or an upadhi in a figure as a construct. And once the rider is proved, the construct is removed. So in order to make it easy for you to solve that rider following a theorem. So follow the principles of the theorem, put an imaginary line, explain the whole thing, like what I was telling, Pythagoras theorem, put a box on one side, put a box on square on one side, square on another side, and say this square plus this square, put it on the bigger square, you will all fit in. The child will understand, yes, 3 square plus 4 square equal to 5 square. But that box and all are all imagined, it's all upadhi. For you to understand 3 square plus 4 square equal to 5 square, you don't need it once you grow to a higher level. So that is what Bhagavan does. At your level of understanding, he does all this garja, explains the creation through all this logically. But the whole thing is mithya. Finally, once you understand the whole thing is mithya, tatya, ropa, apavada, you dismantle the whole thing and say, I am the satyam. Jagat is mithya. Okay, Jagat is mithya for you, but for other people there is still satyam. They will still transact with you. You will also have to transact, you have to relate with them, but relate with them at their level of understanding. That is why daya and kshama. You have to be empathetic, you have to be accommodative, deal with them at their level of understanding, but don't get yourself hurt or guilt in the process because you are already grown into your level of understanding, which is Atma. So all these things are there. That is why Adhyaropa Apavadabhyan Nishprapancham Prapanchate can be at 2 levels. One is at the level of prakriya or methodology to explain the reality. Another is how to explain the world to a person who has not yet understood. He has to be given a matrix of dharma, how to live. Then so you propitiate Vayu Devata, propitiate rain Devata, do all the karmas, do all the yajnas. Because of that only you are getting rain. All those things have to be told so that he lives a sane life till the time he understands. So there's 2 levels, it's all there. The whole Shastra is in 2 levels. One is for the Ajnani, another for a person who knows.
Auntie, can you repeat Adhyaropita Apavada?
Adhyaropa Apavadabhyan Nishprapancham Prapanchate. It's a famous statement of one of the Prakriyas it is. So only that Adhyaropa has to be carefully understood. Because Adhyasa Aropitam is what you do. Adi Aropitam is what Shastra does. They explain the creation.
What is the meaning? Adhyaropitam meaning?
Adhishtanam is Satyam. Aropitam. Whereas Adhyasa is Avidya, which you are doing. Over and above what the Srishti is there, you apply your own Avidya. So Avidya has got equal potential to make the impossible possible, like even Maya. So Avidya is your creation, Jiva's creation. Maya is Ishvara's Srishti. Whereas you come under the influence of both. That is why it becomes very difficult. If you remove Avidya, Maya will not disturb. You will understand Brahma Satyam, Jagat Nitya and will live with it comfortably. Because like you know, sun doesn't rise and sun doesn't set, but still you are able to appreciate sunrise and sunset, and you are able to whole day you are able to live in the time zone of sunrise and sunset. We know very well that neither the sun rises nor sets. So once you understand, Maya will not disturb you. If you don't understand, then it will disturb you. Avidya, your avidya of Maya disturbs you. Maya per se is part of the whole Mithya Jagat. And at the end of the day, you can say it's all my vibhuti. If you understand Atma and Paramatma being one and the same, I am like this. You can say that. I am like this, this is what it is. It's my glory. That is why Sat Chit Ananda. Chit means intelligence. Sat is being. Being is your reality. Chit is your intelligence appearing as Jagat. Continuously changing. And connected by a niyati. Suyate it comes, no? Suyate means stitched together through logical connections. Exactly the mango seed sprouts into mango tree. Vapamaram, vapor seed, even though neighbor, both of them are nearby, they don't get confused. They grow, that is called niyati. That is my vibhuti. The being's vibhuti, because the being is the one and the same. My vibhuti meaning what? Ishvara's vibhuti. Because Ishvara is desa kala vastu aparichinnam. It is not an object, it is not a thing. It is a being. I am also the being. So one being is not different from another being. So Ishvara's reality is my reality.
But in being sometimes we say some are very talented, very creative. We say Ishvara Prabha, glory
Yes,
of God.
correct. It's all Ishvara's glory. It's better to say Ishvara's glory instead of saying my glory. Actually, you can say Usain Bolt is my glory.
But
Yes, his being and my being are all the same.
I don't have the talent, no? The other person.
The talent is only mithya, right? It's only vibhuti. Continuously changing. Today Usain Bolt is no more Usain Bolt. He has lost all his money in some lottery and all. He is pauper now. That's what happens. You go into the globe, that world famous 100 millionaires. Today, most of them, 50% of them have died by suicide.
No, I'm talking about musicians. No.
Everyone, I tell you, everyone. Bombay Jayashree is now sick. She cannot sing now, even though she was a great musician 2 years back. So it's all. That is why the reality is, what was not there before, what is not going to be there later, only appears to exist now. It is not reality, it is only appearance. That's what Bhagavan says. Bhishma was there, Bhishma will not be there later. So Bhishma is not reality. Why are you worried about him? That is the stark reality of life. So the only reality is you, the being. And that is what you want. You cannot accept anything changing. Then why are you going after changing and say complaining that it is changing? Changeless is your reality, and that is what you can own up and be happy with. And that is you. You don't have to do anything. You have to just be. Just contemplate and just be. Every day when you go to sleep, when you get up from sleep, before you go to sleep, you be. Be with Ishvara throughout the sleep. That means for the 25% of the time, will be that you will start owning up that reality. And rest of the time you do whatever transaction you have to do, follow the niyati, the order, everything is available. Fortunately, the Mithya Jagat has got its own order of realities. We have been discussing that. Physical order, chemical order, mechanical order, everything. That is why what God cures a pig, cures you also. Thank God. So they are able to experiment in a pig and then give it to you. Because that means what? Panchabhuta there is Panchabhuta in you. If somebody calls you a pig, you won't like it. But the fact is, Panchabhuta there is Panchabhuta in you. Idli you say it is inert, but when it goes inside it becomes you. So it's all our own perspective. You have to understand the whole reality in its own perspective. So Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya is our Taraka mantra. It is only available for from the Upanishads and Shankara. Even the other philosophers like Sankhya, Vishishtadvaita, Advaita, they are not able to agree that the world is Mithya. That is why the Dasa, all the time praying, Trahimam, all the time, you are at the feet of. Better to be at the feet of Bhagavan. Create a Bhagavan and be at its feet. Don't go away. You can just be there so that you don't get caught up in the world. That is one way of living. But understanding frees you up. Wherever you are, you can still be. That is a reality understanding, basically. Yeah.
Verse 11.
We'll start.
We'll start next day.
Yeah, next week, yeah.
25.
Verse 11. Right?
Verse 11 here too.
Yeah, we will start next week. So think over all these things. I think we have gone through a lot of things. Just go through all these things we have gone through before also. Just keep going through again so that you get connected. Yeah. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate
Purnasya